Welcome to today's edition of The Buzz on Galaxy Television. It feels good to be here on the show today. It's the Thursday, and you know, on Thursdays, we try to put the spotlight basically on issues trending on social media, bordering on family life, be it marriage, relationship, or even lifestyle. You know, we bring that on Thursdays, and today is going to be a very exciting Thursday. My name is still Patience, and I'm here with Alero. Good afternoon, Alero.
Good afternoon, Patience. Thursday.
Thursday gist.
Did you just say Thursday
gist? Yes, no. Okay, remember the show is interactive, so we urge you to make use of our social media portals to interact with us on the program this afternoon.
Yes, using the hashtag The Buzz on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Galaxy TV, and also on Twitter at official Galaxy TV, knowing that you can get to watch previous editions of the program via our YouTube channel, which is Galaxy TV Nigeria.
That's right, and of course the number to send your SMS to is 07087407508, and as I speak the number is on the screen. It's for SMS only. All right, we have a guest in house, even though we're still expecting one more. Sitting close by to me, she's a friend and a sister, and she's known as the Yeye Gospel. Yeah. Yes, Yeye Gospel. I've known her for a very long time, you know, and her interest, her passion has always been in preaching the gospel using songs. It's a pleasure to have Gloria Doyle with us on the show this afternoon.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
again.
Good afternoon.
All right, that empty seat there is supposed to be for Jennifer Hosford. She'll be joining us anytime she gets out of traffic. But on the other end of the table there, we have a sister and a friend, someone I admire so much. She's been a huge inspiration to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people too, especially in the broadcast industry. She's a veteran broadcaster, a publisher, and many, many other things. Ife Onyegbule here with us. Good afternoon, Ife.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good to be here.
Thank
Good
you
to
for
see
coming.
you. And your show is actually, you know, buzzing.
Buzzing.
Making the buzz out there. People
Thank
just
you.
tune in. They want to
Yes.
hear what these girls are
People
talking
like
about.
gossip.
A lot.
That's what
And you have redefined what gossip is.
We defined, we've switched it up.
Redefined it.
Okay, all right, but I don't gossip though, you know, but I like to
No,
gist.
but the show is gossip.
What did you just say?
I like to
Gist and gossip is the same.
I can hear some men now say when women gather, all they do is gossip. That's not true.
Okay, welcome to the show. All right, we have very interesting topics we're talking about today, but then we'd like to tell you that our topics are not necessarily abstract. They are actually people's real life stories, all right? And we'll bring them here and we debate. The first one is a very, I don't know how to describe this one, but if you are in the habit of spying on your husband or your wife's phone, well, you could be going to jail, especially if you live in Saudi Arabia. Because, I mean, spying on your spouse's phone is now a crime in Saudi Arabia, and offenders can face up to a year in jail or a fine of £95,000. Anyway, Saudi Arabia announced this, and they say this is punishable or you pay a hefty fine. Married individuals planning to spy on their spouse in Saudi Arabia will need to think twice, because such an activity could potentially attract a fine of 500,000 riyals. That's approximately 47 million naira here in Nigeria, along with a prison term for a year. Okay, so we're bringing it back home. We're bringing it back home. Yesterday when I told Ify about this story, it was very quick to say, this one won't work in Nigeria.
You know, because sometimes back we discussed privacy and secrecy on the program, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, fine, a lot of spouses have actually agreed, okay, there's not going to be password, I don't need to snoop at your phone, so it's not even going to work here.
All right, but then let me ask the question. Let's start from you, Ife. Why is something as little, you know, as, for me, inconsequential? Because I'm one of those people, and I know we're very few, I'm one of those people that I forget my phone at home. and I'm okay. I don't freak out. Like, I know some people will actually like go into like a nervous breakdown, but I don't.
You might not call it a nervous breakdown. This is like an office for me.
I know.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And if you take it away, you've just taken something away from me. That's the truth. If you take this away, this is me as it is. This is where I work. Everything or most of the things you need to know about me is right here on this phone. But you just talked about spouses. You need to be open to one another. That's the truth. If you have nothing to hide, you could have my password. I can have your password. My password may necessarily not be because of you as my husband or, you know, somebody I'm in a relationship with. It could be because of human beings who just wake up one morning, you're visiting a friend, and the next thing they pick up your phone and they're going through. You can imagine the things that happen. They steal your numbers, the people you know, they check your text messages out, they're looking for things to talk about. So I think it's about being open to one another, but you don't get into someone's phone with the hope of finding something incriminating. Many people do that. I hear there is even a technology where when someone calls you on your phone, your spouse is getting the message or even listening to your conversation.
Even on WhatsApp, really you can as well still send a message to someone else. Another person is able to still see
all your chats
right here in Nigeria.
It's really
then
nice.
That goes into another level. Gloria, what do you think?
Well, I just believe that if you really know what you're doing as spouses, number one, there should be nothing that is secretive between both of you. And if you understand what your spouse is doing, then and you know what he or she is doing, then there's no problem. Because, okay, let me take acting for example. You see a wife, a legally married wife, taking a role of somebody else's wife
in a
movie, and they kiss.
But kiss, cuddle, and do all sorts
of things. That does not mean she's acting. The main deal is between her and her husband. And then it will be very terrible for a man, maybe after such a scene, comes home and the man is now nagging or is being very, very
but how many men will understand?
That's just it. That's why I said it all boils down to understanding. If there's understanding between the spouses, then you don't have issues.
I've seen people who have, you know, posted things on Facebook and you find other men going there to like it or love it or, you know, drop comments.
And then it causes
Come
issues.
and see the trouble at home.
Like, I don't decide who likes my picture or likes my post. You know, so why do I have to explain?
And that's why you get to see a lot of people, they tend to either block or avoid even having any social media handles. Because you don't want issues at home.
You don't have social media handles.
No, but yes, some people don't.
And you're just
I know
some
men who are not on Facebook
at all.
They probably don't have anything they want to put across.
Do you understand? I know women who are not on Facebook or Instagram.
Let's take for instance women who do the kind of jobs that we do.
Well,
and you're not on social media, how do you push what you do?
But you know, at times I just need to sacrifice some kind of things to make some things
There you
work.
go, of course, sacrifice,
You
that's
understand?
the word.
Because you know that's actually going to give the man a lot of headache. And you know, to avoid it, you tend not to even go there.
Men who are comfortable and, you know, very okay with themselves, they don't have a problem with that.
You know, we're just trying to talk about this thing. The same way it is too for a lot of women too, they're actually married to actors too. They're probably not in the same field.
Right.
They would not feel comfortable when they get to see their husband with another woman. So it's the
I
same
think it's an individual thing.
Watch the movie.
I heard of a woman who said, you know, she followed her husband to what you call the place now, where they go for acting.
Okay.
A set. Followed her husband to the set, and you know, he got to one role where the man had to kiss someone and all that. He did all of that, and one of the ladies came to meet her and said to her, I'm sure you're going to brush your husband's mouth now because he has kissed someone. No, it shouldn't work like that. If you're confident in yourself, if you know yourself, if you know your worth, I don't know why you should sniff around, find out who your husband is talking to, find out who he's hugging. Imagine that your husband is a broadcaster, or he's a media person, or he's in the film industry. You're going to have headache all of the time when you check his phone, when you're snooping around.
The phone keeps ringing.
And you know, when the women find that these things give you headache, then you're in trouble.
Continue.
But actually, Saudi Arabia is coming up with this move because of embezzlement, cybercrime. They're actually looking at it the financial way because now we all have the mobile app, our banking apps on the phone. So you know, there's some little transactions that you wouldn't even want your husband to even know.
Right.
You understand? So
what how does spying on my husband's phone, how does that help in fighting cybercrime or embezzlement?
What are you even looking for in your husband's phone?
Did you get my question?
If you the intentions matter.
If you're busy, you won't have time going through your husband's
looking at touchlight, no problem.
You know, you're just like, you're trying to like do a transaction and your wife has probably been asking you for money. And with that, you're able to even see account balances.
What happened to joint accounts?
Do you think a lot of ladies would want to do joint accounts?
No, it's the men that wouldn't want joint accounts.
A lot of ladies would. We had a lady on the program 2 weeks ago and she said no way.
Women would not.
They wouldn't want to.
Why?
She said she wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
One house. We're living in an era where there's a lot of reversal of rules. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Women are beginning to earn more than men. Back in the days, it was the story was different. You know? So the men were always willing to do the joint account. You know, actually, they were even bringing most of the money. And then most of the times, if you know, as a woman, when you do a joint accounting with your husband, more or less, it's the man who runs the account.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But these days, women are wiser. They are more aware. They are now more financially empowered. And wow, I can have my own ATM card, so I don't need to.
Maybe you can have a family account as it is, and you have your different, personal accounts. A man put up something on his Facebook page. They said women are all talking about feminism, or a lot of women are talking about feminism and all that. If you want equal opportunities, make sure you're sharing the school fees, the house rent, and every other thing you need to run the home. And Patience just said something now. These days, you find out most women
get to do that. And they get to do that.
They earn more, and they run the homes. They pay the fees, they pay the
all
rent,
the bills.
they take care of everyone in the home, and they're not making noise about it.
Of course.
It is when the man begins to, make noise where there is nothing. You
Then
find out a lot of women.
Yes.
She comes out and tells you, read you the Riot Act.
Yes.
You need to understand that if you want to be traditional, you must do what is expected of you.
Yes.
The Bible has put you as the head of the house. Do what the head does.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
Wow, amazing. Coincidentally, this early morning, as I was getting ready for work, I was listening to Creflo Dollar on TBN. And Taffy Dollar, the wife, they were talking about this issue of equality, and taking it from the start of creation, blah, blah, and all of that. And if you actually read the Bible, Genesis, to be precise, man and woman, God created them, and they were equal. You understand? It was after the fall of man, that the issue of rulership, of a man ruling over a woman,
being the head.
When it came to. And I'm sorry, I'm not preaching, but I'm just sharing knowledge, and it was what Jesus came to do, which was for him, to redeem us back to that state of grace, which means be you a man or a woman, we're equal. But know your place.
Some people are going to come after you.
I know they'll come after me. My husband is the first person that comes after me when I know, but I'll say my mind.
Many men never want to hear that.
Know your place. It doesn't mean you always have to be headstrong with the man or disrespectful, but know your place. Equal, you're equal. You can do what a man can do.
That's right.
But be submissive about it.
But you have to know your place. It's just the blunt truth. And on the issue of spying on your spouse's phone, any busy woman nowadays, I'm sure, if you're busy.
Have you seen how they go about spying? You look around.
Maybe
he steps out, he goes to the room, you quickly go
goes
there.
to the toilet.
What are you looking for?
What are you looking for?
You just give yourself headaches. then you steal away the peace of the home, and then when your husband steps out, maybe with his friends, you are having like, oh, he's somewhere, he's doing this, you just lose your peace over it. So just don't get involved.
Just get busy. Know what you're doing.
Get busy. Start making money.
Be creative.
And money. And forget about.
Be creative. Yeah. Do something so that.
But you know, there's some actions that actually warrants a lot of people that just want to. They want to just.
What I advise people is work for your own peace. For your own peace.
But a lot of people still have this mentality all around. I have a friend that actually, she never used to spy on her husband's phone. But now she says, Alero, I wish I can actually handle his phone.
Why?
Just for one day.
Just for one day, because I don't understand how things. You understand? It just days that you just probably leave a dog astray and.
But I think it will make a lot of difference, you know, if you both wake up one morning and say, now, don't get angry. Whatever you
let me take yours.
For today, be the PA and I'll be your own PA. Have my phone.
No, what makes
and I will have
but
yours.
you know that there's some ladies that will still say, okay,
Nigerian
let us fix another day. Because you have
give me time to sift through.
No.
But you know,
It
the
just
worst thing
happen.
that can happen to anybody is for you to have a suspicious mind. Because more often than not, what you already suspect about somebody turns out to be what it is. You know, so it's true.
It's true.
It's true.
But how do you have a phone and you don't expect a woman to call your husband? I don't understand
It's
that.
not possible.
It's
Well,
impossible.
Even as a pastor.
Pastors are worse.
Even as a pastor.
Pastors are worse.
They just tell you don't do that.
Doctors. They actually
But the
worse.
thing is, give yourself peace of mind, like Gloria said. You know, there's nothing. If you're looking for something to search, you will definitely find something.
You will.
Okay, then you
Find
now
something.
see, you now cry, you still stay. So
So
what are you
give
doing?
yourself headache.
So what are you looking for?
Now you've emboldened the man because he knows somewhere behind your mind, you know that there's something going on. And he tells you, she's just my colleague, you know. Remember the ones who will save all the girlfriends' names with mechanic, vulcanizer, gardener, taxi driver, cow one, cow two,
I told me your husband says the girl still has battery one
and battery two.
Like, seriously?
Really funny. But really, your phone is your phone. You know,
It's your phone.
It's a phone. It's just a phone.
It's your phone.
It's just a
But
phone.
it goes a long way.
I know it's ruined a lot of marriages.
Yes.
It's some people have
But
even died.
are you
because-
surprised that some people, once they get married, you hear the husband say, now we're married, if you know you love me, bring your SIM card and break it into two, throw it away.
So that-
Excuse me.
So that we start afresh.
You know, so that those same people will
I don't
not
get
be able
it.
to contact you again.
I don't understand it.
I think
So you
that- I
lose
think it's
yourself,
only a man who
lose
has
your friends.
low self-esteem that
would
goes
do
to
such a
that
thing.
kind of.
It doesn't make sense to
A
me.
That's not
faithful
making
woman is a faithful woman.
Whether she has a SIM card
Oh no.
or not, you'll
And
be
if she's
surprised.
promiscuous, she is.
She will
There's
be.
nothing you want to do
Have you
about
looked at the neighbor upstairs, the one downstairs, the one across the road? She doesn't need a SIM card or need a phone to do crazy things.
God bless you.
You need to understand, people contain themselves because they want to be responsible, because they have a name to protect, because they have integrity, because their morals are still very high.
Yes.
But you don't say, break your SIM, now we're married, I want to own you all to myself.
That's
How
extreme.
possible is that?
That's extreme.
How possible is that?
Okay, anyways, even though in Nigeria the issue of the phone as to who owns the phone is still subject of debate. But in Saudi Arabia, you can't spy on your spouse's phone anymore. And of course, this provision came into force last week and is meant to protect morals of individuals and society and protect privacy. The move comes amid a steady increase in cybercrimes such as blackmail, embezzlement, and defamation. Well, let's wait and see if this kind of thing will come to be in Nigeria.
No, it can't work here.
It can't work here.
The situation is different.
Yes.
Never work.
It can.
That's a country where everything is written in white and
Yes,
black.
yes.
This is what it is. The women can do this, the men can do that. And they follow the rules. It can't happen here.
Because
Do you know how
don't
many
follow the
phones some
rules, it
people
comes with
have?
stiff penalties.
Do you know how many phones some people have? You find out that you think your husband has
He
just
has
two
one that he keeps
phones.
at the office.
He
He has one
in
extra
the
phone that
office.
is in the
One in
office
the car.
for something else. So just do your thing. Be
How
yourself.
many do you want to even
Trust.
check self? You just gotta give yourself hypertension.
That's it. For nothing.
Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, Madame versus house help. A man on Facebook, Larry Shola, recounts his encounter with a woman who brought her kids and the house help to a restaurant. According to him, the woman placed an order for rice and chicken for her kids while she gave the house help only biscuits. According to him, he said he went out for a friend's. He went out with a friend to celebrate his birthday, and while they were having fun, he just noticed, this other family on the other table, and he felt really, really bad because the little girl that was giving just biscuits, kept looking at the other kids who were eating
rice and very big chicken.
Yes, and all that. So this is not a new thing to us as Africans, in fact, Nigeria, where you see a family, be it wherever, even in the church, you can quite easily spot who the house help is. Definitely. Maybe from how they are dressed or how they even look. They look different from the children of the house and all of that. First of all, what do you think is responsible for this kind of mentality we've carried over, from so many years? Gloria.
I'm just going to say it's just one, ignorance, then two is selfishness. You understand? Because if you're knowledgeable, you will understand that the way you give birth to your own children is the way somebody else gives birth to our own child. Maybe circumstances just differs, and then they need a form of assistance. You understand? And it's okay, take my child and let my child be of help to you, and then in return, either train her for me or give her some wages. Then at the end of the day, you just believe that the only thing you can do as a human being is to maltreat that person's child. To me, is just wickedness and self-centeredness. Because if you understand the way things works, that child might be the leader of your own children tomorrow. If people understand. So you don't need to maltreat anybody's child because maybe you feel you have the means, or maybe you feel that you're more comfortable. No. If somebody, I've seen cases too on Facebook where a madam got her house help into, I think, Sweden or somewhere, and later got her married.
Yes.
She was schooled and got her married, and she is like a child, a first child, and a senior sister to the remaining children. So there are people like that, good-hearted people like that. So I don't see any reason, it's just being wicked. I don't see any reason why you should take somebody's child, somebody that is putting all the efforts on your children. Make sure your kids are okay, they eat well, they are clean and everything, and you cannot afford to serve the same rice. I mean,
ordinary rice.
But actually, I saw the post, and normally most times when we get a sick post like that, you have to go to the comment section, and so there you have different kind of feel. And Simoji posted something, and she said, "What makes you think that that child is not the woman's child?" That's another story.
From another marriage?
No, not even from another marriage. Okay. That maybe she was under punishment and maybe she did something.
I beg to disagree.
Do you understand? There are times that you just want to, there are days that you just want to give your child some kind of
at an eatery. Second of all, I saw the picture and you can tell she looked different from the other children.
Some women go as far as cut, if the house help is a girl, they cut the hair. While the house girl is on low cut, while their own children.
No, that's not.
That's a
different thing. Growing up, I know my father would never, no matter what you do wrong, you will get your punishment, you get your beating with belt, cane, whatever. But of course, your food is always there for you. You never starve a child because a child has done something. What if that child goes out to steal? Now, she talked about. She has actually painted the whole picture. I have no respect for any woman who picks another person's child and maltreats such a child. The way you carried yours for 9 months is the same way that child's mother carried her for 9 months. What's the point? If a child does something wrong, why don't you correct that child? I can't remember giving my house help food. She goes to the pot herself. She does it herself. I saw her, I said, there was a day I asked her, I said, look, do wash some beans for me. We need to make akara. On Saturday mornings, I like to do that. But these days I've stopped eating, fried foods and all that. And this girl sat on the floor and was you know, struggling with the beans.
With the beans, yes.
For over an hour.
Wow.
Listen, what are you doing? Get up, I'll show you how it's done. I put it in the water and we stood there at the sink together. It didn't take me 10 minutes and it was done. And she's like, Auntie, I didn't know it was like this. I could do it like this. I said, yes, that's how it's done. Some will beat the living daylight out of.
Pound her.
Another day I said, fry plantain, okay, for us, and let's eat. I noticed, I was watching her. You know how you peel the plantain, remove it from the cover?
Yes.
After she had done that, she put it in the sink and was washing
it
before cutting it to fry. And I said, no.
Very hygienic.
I said, no. She said, that's the way I was taught. I said, no, that's the wrong way. You either wash it before you now bring it out from the case, you know, then you cut and fry. So sometimes it's about upbringing.
Exactly.
How were you brought up? I used to call myself the house help of the house. Why? I grew up amongst boys. They're always out playing. I'm there. I have to cook. Christmas, I have to go for the midnight mass. We're Catholics. Because in the morning, every other person is going to church.
Wow.
Then I have to do all of the cooking. But I did it with pride, with happiness, with joy. Because my mother taught me how to cook. But some people, I don't know how you're brought up. You maltreat another person's child. I saw a woman at the airport. She left her twin children with a child who's even not as old as her first child. And I was just looking at her. I didn't know what to say because I didn't want to, you know, call attention. But she was just there and people were looking at her. So I think it's a matter of how people are brought up. And when you grow, of course, you will never depart from that way. So giving that child biscuits, maybe that child will have a story to tell tomorrow.
That's just it,
I ate biscuits. This was what I went through. And the ones you're giving milk and chicken and whatever, you have no idea how they're going to end up. That's the truth.
That's just it.
Okay, you know, while we're talking about this issue of house helps and how they are being maltreated and all of that, can we talk about the reverse though? Because sometimes you can have house helps from hell. You know what I mean? Those evil ones. I've been a victim. I've had like three, four helps, and none of them ended well. You know, I even went as far as Togo.
What were they doing?
Everything
wrong.
you can think
What were
of.
they doing wrong?
And you know, I tried, like, without meaning to praise myself, I tried to, you know, bring them and let's be free. Because when you leave children with somebody, I mean, you want to treat that person right, so that even when you're not there, they treat your own children right. There are just some house helps that will just not be good, no matter what you do. You know what I mean?
No, Patience, I don't think there's anybody who is not
There are
good.
some house helps
Who's not
that will
good?
just not be good. I'm telling you from experience. From experience.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
From experience.
Some of them will just not be good.
I've actually
It's
had
true.
luck that I've had a good
She
nanny.
I have had like three or four of them, and after the last one that actually went as far as almost opening the door of my husband in the bathroom.
Oh,
she was trying
she
to
was mad.
Yes, and
you went
I
mad.
put a stop to it. So now, in my house, we all help each other. Everybody is the house help. Everybody's, you have your assignments.
It reminds me of a woman
And
who
we're
talks
all
about.
growing together. It's fun.
There's
It's
a woman
fine.
who talks
So,
about her house help, you know, talking back at her.
That one is.
And she
Some house
found
helps can
that
be terrible.
at some point this house help started dressing in skimpy.
Yes. Yes.
Then she found out her husband was having an affair
Okay.
with the house help.
No, that
And
one
then
is,
she
um,
sits in the
is a
room, she
normal
puts her leg on the chair, she's watching TV, and Madame comes in, she doesn't even care if Madame is there or not.
Easter
House help from hell.
Sunday, somebody came to my place. They just wanted a drink, and one of her friends came with her kids. The last born was like maybe say 8 months, and it was so funny. It was a houseboy that was taking care of that 8-month-old girl, and I was just looking at them. I was like, I'm very sure this woman has experienced something. You know, for her to now pick up a little boy to be a house help for her kids, then there must be something wrong, because most of them, even my own father, had the same issues with my mom. My father had something to do with one of our house helps, you understand? And
Wow.
yes, you know, let's be real. And that one really brought serious issues in the house, because
Almost
like,
divided.
She must have been such a pretty house help.
you know, no, not even only the pretty thing, that kind of thing that, no, this house girl is from our place, from Ishan, you know, so they are looking for Ishan wife. So I understand it when people are going through it. And I knew the kind of challenges that babe was giving to my mom back then. But I knew the kind of beating she was receiving from me because I was the only one that was able to like, you can't do that to my mom. So it's always like that. So most of the time, don't have many. I've seen an uncle of mine. I will tell you the name later. It's the house help that's in the house right now. That's giving,
as the wife.
Yes. The wife gave birth to the first child, brought in this little girl from Calabar, and before you know it,
she has taken over.
She has had 3 boys and 1 girl.
Okay.
Madam is nowhere to be found.
And she became the madam.
And the madam.
She overtook the madam.
Wow. Is that why people now maltreat their house help?
That's not enough
It's
reason.
not enough
That's not
reason.
enough.
Now, why do you need a house help, for crying out loud? It takes me to this patient, Analero. I wake up in the morning, step out to jog. I leave home at 6 every morning. I jog for like maybe 30 minutes, you know, go round and back in. And I see at that time, even before that time, school buses have come to take children to school. Who wakes up a child at 5 a.m. to get
People
the child
do.
ready at
In
5
Lagos.
a.m.?
People
In
do.
Lagos.
Then we're moving away from the traditional, you know, lifestyle. Maybe we need to look for jobs that won't take you out early in
Out
the
of the
morning,
home.
Yes,
so
like
that you
teachers.
spend time.
Even
Because
the teaching jobs.
Teaching jobs.
Yes.
Some teaching jobs, as a teacher, you have to be in
Some
school
women
by
are
7
lazy.
a.m.
no, but
That's just it.
that's what I
Some
don't
women are
understand.
lazy.
And maybe companies or organizations need to begin to think about, you know, having
Maybe they should pass a
a
bill.
place where people who have children can keep your children until after the close of work. You take a child to school. What's a child doing in school at age 2 or 3?
Age 2 or 3.
What are you doing?
2 or 3,
18
of
months.
course. They go to
18
school
months.
at about
Then
Now,
then you
18
get
months.
to the crèche. All the children are sleeping at the same time.
Yes.
How possible is that? How do they all fall asleep at
no
the
one
same
needs to
time?
sleep.
Because something is
There's something
is going
there's
on.
something going on.
Yeah, of
I think you should meet. There's a woman you should meet. She runs the Nanny Academy in Lagos here. You need to talk to her so that people can get to understand what it is, you know, to have a nanny, how you watch out for such people or get good
Caregivers.
ones.
That's true.
Because this is a major issue. I am not a party to, you know, children being, you know, woken up at that time, 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
Get
people
ready
that
for
actually
school.
go out.
But at the end of the day, let's be real here. You don't wake your child 5 a.m. Your child goes to maybe a boarding house. They wake your child 5:30 a.m.
At what age is my child going to boarding
boarding
house?
There's some primary
Excuse
schools
me.
that actually boarding
Excuse
house.
me.
At
Let me
at 18
From
months?
nursery 1.
From nursery 1, yes.
No,
there's some-
I wouldn't
there's
take
some-
that.
No, there's some schools.
I wouldn't take that. Well, thank God I work for myself. When the baby,
Yeah, that's
when
good.
the baby
Because
start
you work
rolling,
for
That's
yourself.
a good thing. That's
Some
a good
women
thing.
don't have that kind of luxury. Let me call it luxury, the luxury of time.
Yes.
Imagine someone who lives maybe in Ipaja and works on the island. As ridiculous as it might sound,
The
but that
traffic.
is some people's reality.
Yes.
You know, and then they have to wake up as early as 4 so that they can leave home by 5, and they've got kids. After a while, you
can
find
I
that-
get my mother-in-law? Bring your mom or your mother-in-law
well, you
to the
can.
house.
If
Some
probably
women
your
can't
mother-in-law
even
is
live with their
probably
mother-in-law,
late, what
so-
would you do? I've actually had my nanny for about 6 years, and she's pretty elderly, and she's been nice. I'm always telling you.
Yeah.
Elderly.
She's elderly,
She's
so
elderly.
that's I can as well.
You're lucky.
rest.
You're lucky.
You're lucky. Elderly. You see them dragging the children. You know, as an adult, your strides
Longer than
are
that
longer.
of a child.
Or
yes.
you're holding that child and pulling the
Dragging
child.
it,
I had to tell one woman, Madam, you can carry this child. If you want to walk this fast, carry the child. You know, she stood. It was like ice water was poured on her.
dumped on her.
She just picked up the child and carried that child, held the bag, and walked.
walked.
Sometimes I know because of the work, you want to catch your bus or your cab,
Just
you're
get
running
carried
with the
away.
child. No, you need to wake up and do something. This issue of house helps, it's caused more damage
Than
than anyone can think of. Because the husbands sometimes cannot keep it in their pants, they can't zip up, and you find that the house help now becomes the madam of the house.
Then
And
even
the
the house
madam.
help too, I believe that your family members should always try and do a checkup on those kids. You don't just leave those
those
kids
kids
there
like that.
without even checking up on them.
That's
Some of
right.
them don't
But
even.
who gives away children anyway to go and become a house help? I
That's
think
just
there's an age range of, you know, any help I would accept. You know, nothing less than 13. You can't be younger than 13 because by the time you're bringing someone as young as 6 years, 7, 8 as a help, that's like you adopting a child. For me,
That's right.
I'm adopting a child, and you have to treat that particular
Equally.
child like your own child. But then you see these women, you You know, a child of 6, you can carry bucket of water on the head. Your child cannot do that.
As we speak, there are many women who are watching Alero, and you find that these women don't let their house helps eat on the same table.
They don't even sit
children
on the chair in the parlor.
They don't sit on the sofa.
They don't sit on the sofa.
They eat in the kitchen on the floor.
That's evil.
Like dogs. And you wonder, how do you reconcile that? Then on Sunday you wake up in the morning, you're dressed
going to church
so beautifully, and your house help.
Then you put the baby on the back of the house help, who is a baby herself. That's, I mean, we need to change a lot
Even
of
if
our,
you are doing that,
a lot of our mentality.
We need to have a paradigm shift. That's what I think.
Yes.
You know, women need to think about it. I'm not saying don't work so that they won't ask for my head on the platter. But when you do all of the things that you do, always remember the home is where you come back to.
Yes.
That is the truth. That's where you come back to. No matter how many years you spend at work, no matter how high you rise, you will always come back home. So find a way. And those children, the way you look after those children, that's how it's going to be for you.
That's true.
If I don't call my mother calls me. If I see her missed call, I know, wow, she's called me and I have to reach her. I must call her back. I call my father, okay, how are you doing? How you people, you know, manage? Because they're just alone by themselves. You know, my siblings are all scattered. Everyone is out of the house. They're just there. We need to call from time to time to find out how they are doing. Some people don't call their parents. I saw some people going haywire with the video that, what's his name, posted? Julius Agu. He went to see his mom in the farm.
In the farm, yeah.
And everyone was saying also, oh, she's still in the farm. Why is she still farming?
Why is she not
take it away?
People don't think people farm abroad. People farm in the US.
What's the big deal about going to the farm?
But you know, there was a certain time we actually visited the old people's home at Munshi, and we learned that there are so many rich Nigerians that drop their parents.
No, it's not about dropping. It's not
even
about
coming back to check up on them.
Okay, now you've talked about not coming to check up on them, because I think it's a good idea. If you have a very good facility where people can take care of it, happens abroad. There's nothing wrong in it, Alero. But if you say they don't come back to check
that's
on their
parents, that's
a major issue. Yeah. But if you put them there and they're well taken care of, why not? We need to begin to open up our minds. Let it work like the parachute or the umbrella. You know, you don't just have to hide your parents in the house. If there is a place where they can go, where they get the best help, when you talk about health,
access health
where they can get love and all that.
Some parents, I have a friend that brought the mom to Lagos here. The mom actually saw this empty land space and started farming there. There was nothing she said. She said she cannot stop farming. So what do you stop?
It's just do it. She does it. You probably take up that thing.
You can't take
okay, all right. Our time is fast running. All right. So that's Madame versus house help. Please, women, if you must take a helper into your home, in as much as that person is rendering help, rendering service, helping you out in the home, the least you can do is also make life worth living for that person. Be accommodating, be embracing. I don't know how you can treat a human being, you know, in such an evil manner. How much is a plate of rice and chicken, for God's sake, that woman couldn't buy for
and
the
she was pretty heavy.
Plate of rice.
And she was heavy, so another baby was on the way. So more work for the house help.
With biscuits.
Yes, biscuits.
Just biscuits.
Then tomorrow she will steal a piece of meat from the pot and then you almost kill her. She's hungry and she's a kid. She's hungry. She has to eat.
And that's
one day I made food at my house help says.
You saw this on Facebook too, where a maid, the mother of the child left out and she took a cutlass and sliced
like the hand. Oh well,
just
that's gory.
That's gory. That was her own way of getting back at the wicked madam. Yes. So. Okay, so let's move it along because of time. We still have another topic we have to look at there. Facebook user Ore Afolayan, who goes by the handle at the Ore Afolayan, asked this question on Twitter. Sorry, it's a Twitter user. Asked this question on Twitter. As Christians, are we allowed to have sex after traditional marriage? And so we're asking the question, is traditional marriage the real deal? Okay, Gloria. After traditional marriage, can we continue?
Definitely, traditional marriage is the real deal. Biblically, from the onset, it's been traditional marriage. You understand? This Christian church wedding and all these other glamorous way of getting married is just by the wayside. The main thing is the parents get to know each other, you exchange the dowry and every other thing, then you are free to do whatever you want to do with your spouse.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, if you, what say you?
Maybe I'll just align with what she's talked about. The traditional engagement, let me put it that way. I don't like to use the traditional, they add the word wedding to it. I think it's something where you have your family members, they've already met, you've solemnized it. Having the church blessing is what people like to do. For some persons, they say, look, once you've done that, there are 2 more stages to go. It depends on what you agree with, you know, with your partner. But if he says, no, we're not doing this, we're not doing that, and you begin to live together, tell me when you have lived together and somebody has paid your dowry, and he says, look, you need to go do the job, you know, perform your marital duties. Why would you say no? So if you don't want to have sex, then don't live together. When you start living together, it's simple. Sex will definitely come on. And
so where does the church wedding, the whole church wedding thing was like
everyone wants to show off. I think it's just showing off, you know. You want to show off, tell your friends you're married and all of that. You find out that some people who even have church weddings, their parents may not be able to attend the church wedding. So what does it mean? It's just your friends, maybe close relatives that are there. If you have the money, why not? But I see that once people have done that native law and custom, as we call it,
it's just
you are Mrs. whatever, as it is.
And then it's recognized by the law.
Yes.
So
even some who have been married in church, after having sex, they have to fast for like 7 days and pray to God for forgiveness. I don't want to mention the name of the church, patience. But that happens. You have sex with your husband or with your wife, you now have to go do some fasting.
My own husband, legal husband.
I don't understand.
Why?
Doctrines and tradition. On tradition.
Okay. All right. You know, after this guy, I'm guessing Aurea Folayon is a guy. You know, after he posted this question on Twitter, I went to the comment section. And one particular lady, her response was very hilarious. And she said, the Bible says the marriage bed should be left undefiled. So you can do anything, just leave the bed alone. You can go to the roof. And I found that very funny. You know? So as long as you don't go to the bed,
you can buy another bed.
But what do we mean by marriage bed? What do we mean by that?
I think she was just trying
Which
to be
bed?
funny.
She was just
Do you buy a brand new bed after you've gotten married and say this is the matrimonial, bed? Do you have an idea how many women have been on that bed before you came?
Maybe it's even a woman who paid for the bed or bought the mattress on the bed.
You never bed spray.
You never know. You know, a lot of us, you didn't start from the scratch with your husband. Some women, they don't. So all the things in the house were already bought. So
before you came.
Before you came.
And you have no idea who it was that decided what the kitchen will be painted in. You don't know who decided what kind of gas cooker, what kind of plates you're going to have in the kitchen.
I'm sure some women are thinking of redesigning their homes right now. But really, we are Africans, and traditionally speaking, the traditional marriage, you know, is what is considered in many, you know, many customs, in many, how do I put, ethnic groups.
But when it comes to sharing of property, they tell you, did you go to the registry?
Yes.
That you must have that document.
Yes.
If not, you're just going to be left high.
So why can't the traditional marriage be enough? You know, to protect a woman when maybe the husband passes on.
It does.
I think that's a job we'll leave for you and
No, it actually, it does, because I could remember when my dad actually passed on and they had to do the traditional rites. Afterwards, she was actually left that, okay, every other thing belongs to you. You've done everything. You've done the traditional burial. So you're fine with it. So there was nothing like...
I think your own tradition is very lenient.
It's quite different.
Yes.
From
Some
what is
traditions.
That's the yeah, that's Zinwari. I'm sure a lot of people definitely.
Can you talk for
in the southeast?
Ishan people. Okay, let's hear Ife.
You must have a male child before. Yes, you must have a male child.
It's
before
everywhere.
You're even
You
considered.
are entitled to
Before
anything.
Before you're even considered.
A wife.
Yes.
You're even considered.
It's true. Even in Isha.
Well,
Wait.
that's debatable.
Wait.
But I know about the Igbos. I know the Igbos are very particular about the male child issue.
Yes, which is strange. I won't say it's strange.
It happened to me. It happened to me. Sorry, I'm not bashing anybody, but I'm just sharing what happened to me. I'd had two girls are my first, and then when I now finally had my first boy, and my mother-in-law came to see me in the hospital, and the first thing she said, my wife.
Now you sit down.
Now you sit down.
So before you were standing on one leg.
One leg like this. One leg up.
And it dawned on me that wow, thank God for messes. So if I hadn't had a boy,
they would tell you.
When
I would tell you,
You would now continue having kids like that.
When I had my first son, because I got married to an Igbo too. The first thing I think I was just
Igbo men
I was
like
pregnant
lovely
then,
women.
and I heard my in-laws saying that, hey God, if she born gay, now from back home you will go throw away her load.
oh my word.
No, I'm sure they were joking.
They weren't joking.
No, guys,
Oh
come
my
on, guys. I'm sure they were joking.
They weren't joking.
And they'll throw you out.
Because one, I was not Igbo. And
But
they
what
wanted
was
to
all
do.
That's
the
not
thing about-
true. I don't want to
about-
believe
I don't
that.
understand about the
It's
male
true.
child.
It's just one thing they don't joke
But
with.
you know,
Male
this
child.
issue of the male child is being inculcated into all of us so much
Yes.
that every woman, whether be you Yoruba, be you whatever tribe you belong to, if you keep having female children and you've not had a boy yet, there's this feeling of
Emptiness,
fulfillment.
exactly.
Sorry, count me out.
I'm serious. I know these women feel unfulfilled.
So empty.
So empty. You know that they've not been able to have a male child.
Sweetheart.
Why?
I'm fulfilled.
She's got two girls.
I've got two girls
she's-
and I'm
she's
fulfilled.
good.
My brother's got 4 boys.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I can as well find solace in the
No,
boys.
but you know, it's true. It's true. I come from a family where we were all girls. We're 3 girls. My father, we lost the only boy, so we were all girls growing up. He's the only man I knew growing up, that had no issues with. I have just female. He was the only man amongst.
But you find out now that the girl
But
child.
his family didn't let him be. They even brought another wife.
That's just it.
For him, but he rejected it. And today he has more male grandchildren than female. But I'm trying to tell you that it's
Would you like to have a male grandchild?
a male grandchild? I would love to have grandchildren, regardless of the sex.
That's
as
right.
long as they're grandchildren, they're my children.
That's right.
Regardless.
That's right. That
It
should
doesn't
be the
matter.
spirit.
That's it.
That should be the spirit, because people keep saying you must have a male child, you must have a male child, and I'm wondering what is the man doing
that
the
the
woman
woman
cannot do?
Now back to
Even
the
better.
Ishan thing. I don't know, but I think with Ishans they're a bit more lenient with the male child. Yes, we like the male child thing, but I think the custom is whoever the first child of the family is, when the man passes on, inherits everything, whether you are a man or a woman.
Which part of Isha?
I think so. Yes, yes.
Which part of Isha?
Yes, it's
Because
true.
I remembered when my own father died. Though our first daughter she's the first girl, came all the way from America. She had to sit in a corner as a first daughter.
Because
myself I come from a polygamous family. I'm the first of my mom. I had to sit one corner. You understand? The only thing that as first daughter, they'll find you. Every right that is being done by the first.
By the son.
By the sons.
Wow.
Wow. Interesting.
Wow.
Tradition
I'm so
can
tongue-tied.
Tongue-tied.
I'm tongue-tied as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some people will be trying to twist the tradition now.
Our traditions, sometimes some of them are responsible for how backward we've remained as a people. You know what I mean?
This is
And
true.
This is an age where I'm not saying throw away our way of life, but there are some things that could be remodified, to embrace progress.
Yes, it's true.
That's what I want to say.
I have talked about this issue of the Osu caste system. You know, it happens in the East. And I said to some of my kinsmen, I said, what if someone, you live abroad and you find love, somewhere, and you discover that this person is in
Is an
quote
osu?
unquote
Osu.
is an osu, what happens? You know what they said to me? You're on your own. You can follow the person, do whatever you want and all that. And I say, no, where is the place of love if you're looking at someone and saying this person is not a freeborn? Who is a freeborn?
But funny
Who
enough,
is a
tradition
freeborn?
is so strong. We
strong.
saw that we saw that play out at the
strong.
that's during the Oba of Benin when he actually plays the course.
Yeah.
So
Tradition.
people don't actually play with anything
Anything
like
like
tradition.
Once they
Tradition.
say don't do,
Do this,
don't go, you don't go.
And okay, so traditional marriage, according to this panel here,
Is stamped.
is okay. So after it, you can do the do. Okay, it's recognized. Yes.
Find out what works in your
Yes, you can
family.
really do. Yes.
Find out what works in your family
What works in your
and
family and
roll
go-
with it.
Yeah. All right. Okay, it's been a very interesting afternoon with you ladies. Thank you so much for making it on the show today. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ify. We're out of
Thank
time.
you.
We
Thank
wanted to
you.
look at this Covenant University thing in passing. Maybe we'll shift that to another day. But man, if I had a son, anyways, let me reserve my comments.
No, my own issue is just about the one clipper
one
that
clipper
was used for the
about
1,000
1,000
students.
students.
That's just
One
one issue.
Why
about
did they
the
have
thing.
to shape? I didn't look
One
at that
clipper.
story. I didn't look at that story.
With
when
all
I
the
saw it.
HIV awareness going on that's been
down.
going on over
One
the years,
clipper.
how do you use one clipper to shave the head of over 1,000
That
students?
particular
No, they just gave them one
university
kind of one
is
It's still
pattern.
shaving. It's still
That particular
shaving.
university is they are overdoing things. That's all I can say.
Well,
No, but as I said before we came on set, patience. Nobody forced you to go to the
That
school.
school.
You paid your fees and sent your children or your child to that school. So when you're in Rome, what happens?
you behave like a Roman.
Simple.
So you abide by the rules, but
Let's take it
the
like that.
one clipper
to
1,000
Is the
students
issue.
Is the issue in this? Yes. All right. Thank you, Ify Oyegbule.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so
coming.
much.
Thank you, Gloria. Dora.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Alero.
Thank you, Patience.
Tomorrow at noon, join us again and we'll be bringing you entertainment. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday afternoon. Bye-bye.